Welcome back. We're here at Classic Talk with Bing and Dennis. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Michele Mariotti, and we were just in Pescara.
Yes.
Speaking about your first.
Pescara, where it's the place where I degree in conducting with Maestro Donato Renzetti, 3 years, and I started to study there in 2001 till 2004. So I have a wonderful memory of this period.
What does a conducting teacher teach you besides here's one,
It's
two,
very,
three, four?
It's very difficult. The easiest part is the technique. You can learn the solid and right and clear technique. This is 5%.
5%.
I mean, 5%, maybe not, because it's important to everybody can understand you. So it's very important to have a good technique, good arm, very clear, but it's not enough.
So what's the other 95%?
Because the music is here on your baton, is in your mind, in your heart, in your belly. It's something very difficult to explain. So I appreciated his work because I think it's very difficult to understand what he did. It's very difficult to understand what conductor has to do. How can you teach a guy when you are conducting opera and suddenly, for a lot of reasons, the singer is late or in advance, and you have to put him immediately a tempo or work chorus. This is the experience. You can understand only working.
But that's still, it's only small part of it. That's through experience, through education or whatever.
Yes.
But still the big part
Yes.
is something that either you have it or you don't. Do you agree with that?
I agree, absolutely. It's something, it's very important, your culture as well. You have, there's need to have a lot of time to prepare in advance. There's need to be relaxed when you have to work, because sometimes, I mean, it happens to me so frequently, to spend 1 hour of my day only studying 2 pages. Because you think about a lot of things. And day by day, you have more question.
Right.
Year by year.
That's right.
When I started, everything looked so easy. Now everything looks so difficult, so hard. It's the opposite compared to what I told you before. A lot of things looked so difficult before, and now they look so easy. So it's complicated.
When you spend those hours by yourself, is it mostly just you and the score, or is it
Just me and the
no
scores.
piano? You just hear it in your head.
Sometimes, and I'm used to listening to the recording, to the CD, just for memorize. But it's only silence, me and the score. Otherwise, a CD can be very, very dangerous for you, because you can memorize these tempos, this a beat, these
Gestures.
other conductors did before you.
So in other words, you will lose control of your identity or your feeling or...
You have to stay, how do you say, very calm, because it's not easy. I mean, you have to stay healthy as well to do this work. You have to be strong, not only for conducting Wagner music, but conductor is a guide. You are a lighthouse, and everybody have to understand you are calm, you are sure, because if all of them understand you are nervous, you can make them nervous.
That's right.
And it's not good. It's not.
When you started the school, is at that moment do you feel, I think I will make it?
It was traumatic for a few aspects. For example, I always conducted in my room with the CD, the most important orchestras of the world, but in my room. So that was the first time I had in front of me real persons. So I remember the first time was I wasn't happy at all, of course, completely sweaty. The second time, it was better, because I thought, okay, I want to try as I was at home.
How did you feel the first time when you
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. When you go home, you say, "Is this really what I want to do?" Did you think of that, or
No, I always was sure not to become a conductor. I always was sure this is my dream. This is what I hope to become, what I would like to do.
Sure.
That's why I think I'm very lucky, because I had one idea and I could realize it. I had one dream and I could realize it.
Did you ever tell your dad, your father, say, "See, I told you, I wasn't too late"? Did you ever say that?
Oh my God! But we were not fighting about this, of course.
Really?
He was worried because he knows the orchestra I needed. It was difficult to have.
Right, sure.
You can buy a piano, you can buy a flute, you can buy a clarinet. You can't buy 50 musicians.
Yes.
You were speaking about culture being an important part of it. You're being Italian, you have the Italian culture, and you conduct mostly Italian music, but not only. How is it different, or in the future, how much do you want to do more non-Italian music, or do you want to be considered an Italian conductor?
No, absolutely not. I always hated the opera conductor label. I think it's important to do both. That's why I'm building my symphonic repertoire. This year was very important for me because I made debut with Radio France. I'll make my debut in Leipzig, Gewandhaus, in Germany, in Munich. So it's important. In Bologna, I can conduct a lot of symphonic pieces.
You're the music director of the
Comunale di Bologna.
Yes.
So it's very important to do both for your imaging. But I think conducting opera can help you for symphonic repertoire, because this was my experience. I learned a different way, maybe the right way to take a breath with the music, with the singers. And it's the same with the musician in the pit, because they are not a machine. Since I'm in relation with my wife, I understood the Russian romanticism is very different between the German one. Because the German romanticism is more tragic. The Russian one is more melancholic, more ironic.
What about Italian?
Italian symphonic repertoire, I think if you think about Italy, you think about the opera. Because opera is our heart, is our, how do you say, essence, our essence.
Almost your DNA.
Yes.
It's opera.
It's opera. And Mozart theater you can find in Mozart's opera, in Rossini's opera, in Verdi's opera is amazing, Puccini's. I think, for me, there is Mozart, and then all the other composers. But I think the opera skeleton or skill,
Scale.
scale. It's Rossini, Verdi, Puccini. No Verdi without Rossini,
Right.
and maybe not Puccini without Verdi, because the early Verdi, it's very close to Rossini. The last Verdi is the open form. He had to write the bars, but you understand the music doesn't need of them.
Going back to Rossini, there's, of course, with the bel canto, there's Donizetti and Bellini. How do you place them in relation to Rossini? You've done more Rossini, probably.
I think this is my opinion. I love Don Pasquale and Lucia di Lammermoor, Donizetti. I love them. I conducted Don Pasquale. I will conduct here. No, actually, in Bologna, in Covent Garden, here at the Met, Lucia di Lammermoor. I don't like so much the orchestration of Donizetti. For me, it's too heavy. I think we would need the same revolution we had for Rossini 50 years ago. But we don't have. So the way to play Rossini, to sing Rossini, to conduct Rossini, now it's very different between 50 years ago, because of the revolution we had, and we are still thanking Maestro Zeta, Claudio Abbado, because they gave us completely different composer, so clear, so light, so clean.
What about Bellini?
Bellini, for me, Norma and Puritani are for conductors. But Bellini's, his melodies are wonderful. And a lot of people, for a lot of people, this music is boring because there is no accompaniment. The accompaniment is very simple. The orchestra is not the orchestra has not to do what he does with Strauss or with Verdi or with another composer. But why? There's no need to do this, because the melody is so wonderful, so important, and it doesn't need.
Do you think a certain opera that you feel like now it's not time for me to do that?
About
For you, the certain operas you think
it's early.
yeah, it's early for you.
Maybe
or-
Wagner music.
Yeah.
It's early. In for repertoire Mahler music, I prefer to wait for a bit more,
Why?
because I need more experience, but not as a conductor, as a man.
Uh-huh.
I read somewhere you said a similar statement about, speaking Mozart, you've
Don
conducted
Giovanni.
Figaro, but you said, Don Giovanni, no, I'm not ready for it. When will you be ready?
I have to be ready in 2018 because I'll make my debut in Bologna, Don Giovanni, December 2018. But I always thought, actually, Così fan tutte was the deepest Mozart's opera, more complicated opera, and I already done it.
Mm.
So
You should be able to do it.
I should be. But every time, I think Mozart is the only composer who can make me happy.
Huh.
Every time. Every time I have to conduct Mozart, I'm happy. Next May, I'll conduct Zauberflöte.
If you use one line to describe that, make you happy, Mozart, what is that?
because he was a genius. But why he was a genius? Because, of course, for a lot, there are a lot of reasons. His music can touch at the same moment your brain and your body.
Mm.
Mozart music every time makes me crying.
Mm.
Every time.
Mhm.
So simple. So why it's so beautiful? It's so simple, but why it's so beautiful?
So do you think it's because three-dimensional?
Yes. That's why I told you this music can touch your mind,
Mm-hmm.
but
And
not only your mind,
Mhm.
also your
Your
heart, your body, because Mozart and Verdi, but above all in Mozart opera, you are in front of you, but you are completely naked. People are completely naked, and Mozart's opera, I think, and Verdi's opera as well, they are very violent opera because we know how relationships can be violent, can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm studying Ballo in Maschera,
Mm.
and I think there is in Ballo in Maschera for me the best love duet with Amelia and Riccardo. But they are guilty or they are not guilty. They are guilty because they say to each other to love to each other, but they had no sex. They it it's only an intellectual love,
Right.
but of course this made them guilty as well. And there is a moment in which he asks her, "Tell me only one thing. For me, it's enough. Only to know you love me." Yes, I love you. It's amazing. So, it's for me the best duetto d'amore between two, between one woman and one man
Mm-hmm.
who didn't have anything together, who didn't make anything together.
Right.
It's beautiful. What operas are out there that you have not conducted, perhaps in a Tchaikovsky or something that you would like to soon?
Opera?
Yes. With a Russian wife, is she urging you to do
Oh,
some?
she sang a wonderful opera, The Tsar's Bride.
Mm-hmm.
Rimsky.
Rimsky-Korsakov.
Wonderful opera. I mean, I'd like to conduct, of course, Eugene Onegin.
Uh-huh.
Onegin, Boris. I'd like to conduct. And I started to appreciate Russian music when I heard this music played by Russian people.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's can be stupid what I said because you have not to be Russian. But if you're Russian, you understand. I mean, I understood a lot of Italians or, European musicians played this music without understanding the right character of this music, the right character of that sadness, the right character of the reason of that melancholic atmosphere. Because sometimes the evil can be a death, can be something strong, but sometimes the evil can be a clown with a square shirt, funny, ironic,
Right.
but it's very hard. It can be very hard. Let's think about how many movies used this theme. Dolls, or clown.
That's right. And do you think that's also because you have your wife from Russia? so make you probably a lot easier.
Speaking together, I could hear her explaining me, and it helped me. But it's not only because of my wife, of course. I mean, you have to follow your way. No rush. You have to. We are not singers. We are not athletes. We can work till 80. So it's important to do the right steps.
Sure.
So
What will be your future plan? You're thinking of it.
The great symphonic repertoire, Tchaikovsky, Brahms, Beethoven, French opera, Werther. I conduct Werther. I decided not to conduct Rossini in Bologna because I don't want the label.
The label.
Because
Right,
I was
right, sure.
Italian. I was born in Pesaro.
Yeah.
I mean, I know very well Rossini. I know very well his code. But it's important to have your repertoire has to be various. That's why I decided to conduct Verdi. For me, the early Verdi till Macbeth, Ballet Maskera. I'll make my debut in Don Carlos as well, but in the original French version. And Don Carlos, it's a wonderful step. But it's curious, my career, because the second thing actually, maybe the first time I opened the season in Bologna, I conducted Simon Boccanegra. And if now I have to think about this, oh my God, I was crazy. I was completely crazy, because I agree. I'm sure it's not opera for young conductors. It was good. It was a success. They named me after that opera, but
They named you as the
principal.
conductor.
But I mean, if somebody wants me to conduct Simon Boccanegra, I'll refuse for sure.
We're running out of time, but I want to ask you, when you need or want to clear your mind of music and opera, what do you do? What
I like to cook.
you cook?
Yes, I love to cook for my friends. We always invite.
I'll be waiting an invitation.
Yes,
What
I
is
like
your-
so much because I don't think about music. I
Uh-huh.
think about onions, tomatoes, blah blah blah.
What is your favorite cooking?
For my wife, the risotto.
Oh, I see.
She loves my risotto, but I can cook pasta, meat, and maybe fish as well. But my wife is a wonderful chef as well. Russian foods are amazing. And sport, okay. I always played basketball. I told you, tennis. I like to go bicycle to cycle. There is a track between Pesaro and Fano built on the beach. 12 kilometers.
Wow.
12 kilometers. So
Wonderful.
It's nice and flat.
it's amazing because you can have a bath. So
Sure.
on the beach is great.
I think, music and food, somehow they are.
Very connected.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. That's right. I have one last question for you.
Yes.
Is that, your generation as a conductor and, the next generation and the generation before you, do you feel the difference, the way they think, the way they conduct?
For sure there is a difference, but not only in the music. There is a difference because the world is changed.
The world is changing.
Now everything is fast. Now you lost your patience. our life is in a social network, mobiles. The world is changed. A lot of years ago, to make a career, for example, for singers, the voice was enough. Today is not enough.
That's right.
Because the world is changed.
That's right.
And all the business around us, but not only in the theater.
Right.
Let's think about sports.
Everything. Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
On that note, unfortunately, we must stop our conversation. It's been a great pleasure today speaking with Michele
Thank
Mariotti.
you for inviting me.
Thank
you for
you.
joining us. This has been Classic Talk with Bing and Dennis with Michele Mariotti.